Hello everybody. Once again, your house shrink. I'm streaming again to expand on some of the shorter videos that I worked on for relationships. When you look in TikToks and you see all of the people that are having problems with relationships and so forth, what's happening is that they lack the tools and they're with the wrong person. So there are several qualities that a person has to have. I talked in a short one of the first three. I'll discuss them and go deeper and then come up with some others. The first one, you have to have the ability to admire without envy. Because if you don't, then when your partner achieves something, you're going to find something wrong with it. You're going to criticize it out of envy. So the ability to celebrate the good fortune of your partner is extremely important. And these are qualities that you cultivate within yourself and with your partner. But you look for them in a partner. If they're not there, there's a problem. The second one, the ability to admit that you're wrong when you're wrong, and you let your partner know, and if you have to apologize, you apologize. If not, you're just besting each other and trying to see who wins. Not good for a relationship. And the third, which most people don't talk about, is the ability to look at the totality of your relationship. The totality of your relationship, so that you can put it in perspective when something goes wrong. You make a mistake or somebody does something wrong, an indiscretion, whatever, you have to put it in perspective. If you don't, it's what have you done for me lately? And that doesn't work. So what you do is you begin to develop those three qualities within yourself, but you also look for them in a partner and see if that partner has that ability. If they have that ability to really be happy with things that are going well for you rather than criticizing it, or putting it down, or sabotaging your joy, sabotaging your growth. Also, does your partner ever acknowledge that he or she is wrong? It's important, because if not, it's the ego of how can I win? It's a battle of besting each other. So you have to have the ability to say, hey, I'm wrong, I apologize, I've done the best I could, and whatever it is, you apologize. That's extremely important because that shows you have good self-esteem to allow yourself to feel like you're not perfect. And the third, which is so important that nobody talks about, is that when there's something wrong, you do something wrong, you make a mistake, you're not perfect, like nobody is, the totality of the relationship needs to be brought in so that people and your partner can see, okay, you've done something wrong here, but look at the patterns of good things that have happened in the relationship. It is not to sugarcoat it, it's to put it in perspective so you can see that when someone is imperfect, they're still salvageable and things can be worked out. Those are extremely important in a relationship. The other thing that's very important is to understand that you come in with certain flaws in certain areas that need to be worked on. And I talk about it in my book, The Mind-Body Code, about what I call the guardians of the heart, which is that most of us will bring certain archetypal wounds into a relationship. We have a history of having been abandoned or shamed or betrayed, and we bring that baggage in. And when you create a place of safety in a relationship and you try these three ingredients that I talked about, then you can work through the shaming that you're bringing into the relationship, or you can work through the abandonment that you're bringing into the relationship, or the betrayal. So it's very important to see that relationships are opportunities to grow, but don't look for somebody that you have to fix. You don't want to fix anybody. You don't want to be anybody's therapist. You want to grow with each other and be aware that no one's perfect, but you don't want to be, for example, with someone who thinks they know everything. They can't be wrong. You can't give them a critique. They always question everything you're doing as if there's no past. Yes, you did well for 10 years, but now you've made a mistake. That's what have you done for me lately? And it doesn't work. It doesn't work because the person's not able to see the totality of who you are and what you've contributed to a relationship. So it's very important to be able to begin to see those ingredients as being extremely important. The ability to forgive is also very important. And forgiving is really an act of self-love, that you're letting go. You're not holding on, you're not keeping the baggage, and you're not making the person pay for it over and over. If it's over, it's over. The relationship is over. But don't stay to punish someone. And be aware that being imperfect is what we are. And we try to dance around perfection, but you never want to be perfect. It doesn't exist. And if it did, you would be extremely boring. So this is all so valuable. Thank you. Gravity, thank you. A lot of people are joining. And feel free to ask any questions. I'll have my tea. I have my Hollister and my tea. By the way, I love Hollisters, and I wear Hollisters when I come here. They're not paying me for it, but if you ever go and buy a Hollister, they're great. And I always kid around. I say that it's for people who are under 20 and people who are over 20. If you go there and you buy a shirt or whatever, tell them, oh, the house shrink at TikTok's suggested it. And they're going to say, who the hell is that? So, keep them guessing. All right, so getting back to relationships. Relationships are opportunities to grow, to mature, to develop deep caring. But you have to burn your ships if the person is worthy. Burning the ships comes from Cortez when he came to conquer the Aztecs. He burned the ships. Now it was a bad cost because you don't want to conquer anybody, but the concept is good. You burn the ships, and the reason he didn't burn them, actually he sunk them, but they called it burning the ships. And then the ships were burned. He said, we only go back to Spain in victory. So in a relationship, you have to burn your ship if the person is worthy. If they're not, you don't want to be in a relationship just because you want to be committed to it. You only get committed to things that are worthy and people that enhance your reality. I just went on a really nice date. I didn't want to pretend to play it cool afterwards. So, let's see. I texted, I said I had a lovely time and I'd like to hang out again. And no response. Okay, this is a good sign to look for. Not that it's a good thing. If you get ghosted, done. The person's not worth it. If the person doesn't have the courtesy to respond, even if they don't want to see you again, or if they don't have the courage to say, look, you're a nice guy or you're a nice girl, but I don't think that I want to continue to see you, it's fine. But when you ghost, there's no backbone, and that is giving you an indication that you got to run like hell. But give this person an opportunity to see if they respond. You might want to try again and say, look, I sent you a text, I didn't hear from you, I want to make sure that you got it. If you're ghosted, done. Celebrate anybody that ghosts you, anybody that does any ghosting with you, you celebrate that you're getting rid of a coward. You're getting rid of a person that has no courtesy, that has no elegance. So why would you want to be with someone who does that? If they do that on the first date, imagine if you manipulate the person into a relationship, what's going to happen later? You never manipulate anybody into it. You let it happen with each other. What you feel for that person, they have to feel for you. Otherwise, it's one way. So, yes, a lot of people are joining here. Yes, great point. Thank you. Yes, it is a good point. And I'm a clinical psychologist. I've worked with many, many, many people. I don't call them patients. I call them students, because I don't see people as sick. I see people needing education and tools. So although I'm a doctor in clinical psychology, I don't call people patients. They are my students. Well, here, I'm not doing therapy. I'm doing education. Here, you're my brilliant students. So make sure that you ask questions. Great advice, very needed. Thank you. Thank you. Some people, Maverick is in, and Kev is in. I can't see it very well because my shirt is that light color, and it doesn't show the names very well. Ashface, Michael Young. Wow, a lot of people are showing up. We always get a lot of, I say we, I shouldn't say we, because Mark Twain said that there are only 3 people that can say we. The Pope, the Queen of England, and somebody with worms. So since I'm neither of those 3, I'm going to say I from now on, and no we. Okay, how can I help my daughter heal from trauma? Well, first you have to find out what the trauma is. And you have to ask to see what she needs from you. Because the worst thing you can do is try to help someone when they don't want the help. You don't want to preach, you don't want to tell them what to do. You can say, I'm here. If there's anything that I can do, I'm here for you. But I don't want to force anything. If you're hurting, I'm here. If you need me, I'm here. I know it's hard to do that. But if you do more than that, then you're helping them pull away more from you. So first you have to find out what trauma is it. Having to navigate dating via apps is very exhausting. Any advice on how to meet people in real life? That's an incredibly good question and very legitimate question. It's very difficult to meet people even here because they're either dancing and showing off, or they're trying to be crude, or there are very few people that will say, hey, I'm looking for someone here that I can honor. Very few people, because they're out there to entertain and to get likes and all that. One of the ways to do it is to, if you like something, let's say you like art, or you like music, or you like whatever it is, try to find groups of people that have similar likes. Book clubs, concerts, art galleries, anything that you like. Create interest groups and things. Why? Because if you find people that have similar tastes, they're also going to have a similar level of ethics and a similar level of authenticity and elegance. But also be ready to be courageous. And if you meet someone somewhere, just don't do a hit. Just go up and say, I think you look to me like a wonderful person. And anytime that I see somebody that I feel is wonderful, I want to know them. No pressure. I would love to know you. My name is such and such. Would you like to know me? No, thank you very much. Let it go. But there are people who will say, yeah, this person is worth knowing. They're courageous and they're honest. So when you get turned down, it means that it's not for you. It's not a rejection. It's just not for you. Let's see. Good point. I'm going in art school and it's been all online. This will change in September. Well, great. But even online, you can get to know people. You can get to know them by first you got to share interests. If there's no interest that you share with each other, what is it going to be? Sex 24 hours a day? You can't. I had an anthropology professor, very proper, and he would say, your young generation is always thinking about sex. There's got to be more than sex. For example, in my case, 5 minutes. In your case, an hour. But still, you still have many, many more hours of the day. So he was right. There's a hell of a lot more than sex in a relationship. And by the way, if you have a decent, caring, deep relationship, sexuality increases tremendously because it's mind-body. Wishful thinking. What is wishful thinking? Tell me what wishful thinking is. Wishful thinking is what you try to achieve and you put your energy into it and you put your hope into it. So tell me what's wishful thinking, and I'll try to answer it for you. Tell me what was wishful thinking. You first have to wish something. Any invention, any great thing that's been done was first thought and wished. The helicopter, going to the moon, antibiotics, anything. First had to be created into fantasy and then put into a reality. So you create your fantasy and slowly you begin to live your reality, not like Pollyanna, not some kind of a delusional world, but gradually develop the ingredients that you need in order to be a good person. And a lot of times we just watch other people do things and they don't know what the hell they're doing. They think they're cool because they're being crude, or that passes very quickly. The essence of the person is what is sustained, and everybody wants to be in a relationship. Everybody wants to be loved. Or if you want to be alone, that's okay. Be in a good relationship with yourself. Okay, what can I do to make up for mistakes I made as a parent? My daughter is in therapy. We are supposed to make mistakes. Parents make mistakes so that you leave something undone for your children so they can fix it themselves. If you give them perfection, they have nothing to fix themselves. So, what can you do? You don't beat yourself up. You look at the totality, as I was talking about earlier, the totality of your relationship. And if the totality of the relationship has been that you've been a good father or a good mother, and you screwed up a few times, well, there's a totality there. And there's something that's workable. Give her room and let her know that you're there. Let her know that you're not perfect, but let her know that you're willing to make up whenever she's ready. That's all you can do. There's no magic. But you never beat yourself up. What you do is, how can I grow from this? Not how can I beat myself up. That's rat psychology. Good psychology is, how can I learn from this, and how can I make myself a better person from what happened? That's it. Laura Halls just joined us. Quite a few people here. So if you have any more questions, let me know. I'm going to pour some more of my tea. This is Ceylon tea that I'm drinking. So anytime we have these conversations, get your tea or whatever it is that you drink. because that way it makes the conversation a lot better. Okay, let's see. User 70595666 on and on. How are you? Welcome. House Shrink, talking about relationships and talking about how to grow in relationships. Something else that you will see that's very important. Let's see, I don't want to get married, but I'd like to have a long relationship and have children. Well, find somebody that doesn't want to get married. Now, here are the pros and cons. The pros are that there's a legal relationship here. That if something happens to you, there's a legal process that goes on for your children, for your partner. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is that your children would want to know that they have parents that are married, or they have parents that have a relationship. So ask yourself, why is it that you don't want to be married? And if you don't, that's fine. Find somebody that doesn't want to be married and wants to have children, and then be a good person whether you're married or not. That's what I would say. Oh, thank you. You're a very good therapist and have a very calming vibe. Fear of divorce. Okay. If you live in fear, you are going to live up to your fear. So rather than fearing divorce, why don't you invest in what would work in a relationship? And if you invest all you have, and that person is not willing to take it, and that person is not willing to honor what you're giving, then that person is not for you. So sometimes things have to end, but you have to try first. You have to give it all you have first. But don't look for perfection. You're not perfect, I'm not perfect, nobody's perfect. We are imperfect, beautiful human beings. That's it. K. Larry Perigo joined. I think I pronounced it right. And Small Pro. Oh no, 9 Ball Pro. It's very hard to see with the light background because the letters are in white. But if I can catch it, this is stupid. Hey, wait a minute, you're not stupid. What is this? Come on, change your label. I don't like that. This is bright. Why don't you change it to that? Because if you say this is stupid, then what do you have to offer? Stupidity. And you're not stupid. In fact, you're pretty sharp to have that kind of sense of humor. Okay? 603, Joe, join. How are you? More questions, and I'll go on with more tea here. And by the way, you know that I have an extended, the streaming is when you have a certain amount of followers, they let you stream. But you can't put it on, you can't put it back on because it only allows for 60 seconds. So what I'm doing for you to be able to see this is that I'll go to my YouTube channel. I have over 500,000 views already. It's really, really popular, all free, of course. And you go there, it's in the section that's how to get your life in order. You'll find it there. It'll be there, and it'll have the title of the 3 ingredients for a good relationship, and then you can watch it at your leisure anytime you want to. So you can do that. So we have TikTok and we have YouTube. But if you haven't joined my TikTok, please do, because that's what allows you to then see my new work, and also it allows me to expand and be able to reach more people. How can you tell if you have a good therapist? I'm starting therapy soon. Well, great question. There are, in every profession, there are scientists and there are technicians. A technician is someone who believes only what they can measure, and they think they have all the answers. A scientist is one who is willing to explore with you and to look at the evidence. As long as things are going well with your therapist, go for it. But if you don't like something, question it and see what the therapist has to say about it. Therapy is not about pontificating, it's not about lecturing, it's by an exchange of 2 human beings, one having some knowledge of psychology and the other one having some knowledge of self. A therapist doesn't know you better than you know yourself. A therapist has psychological, medical, and so forth tools to help you. But it's a co-authoring, not a lecturing. And you can always look for another therapist. But be aware, let them try some things, and if it works, fine. If it doesn't work, tell them, look, this didn't work for me. Can you give me some other ideas? No therapist with an ego. If that's how dare you question, hell with them. Find somebody else. Let's see. I have to get to class, but thank you so much, Mario. I hope to catch you again soon. Sure. Remember that you can go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez, and you can watch this video once it's completed, and you'll be able to see it and not have to miss your class. So enjoy. and go for greatness. Okay, more questions? Sam just joined. Hello, Sam. T. Something else that is important in a relationship. If you're having some problems, that you're beginning to notice that you're losing interest, that you're beginning to feel a little bored with your partner, the covenant of safety that I talk about is the kind of relationship where you can talk about these things. You can talk about, for example, this is why you have to get your ego out of it. I'm feeling like we're not really doing anything new. We're not discovering anything, that we're getting too complacent with each other. Is there anything that we can do? Let me tell you what I could do. What do you think we can do? If they get defensive, that's not really good. If they get defensive, you can say, look, I'm trying to be honest here so we can let this grow, so it doesn't become a mountain. We want to be able to deal with it in small amounts so we can save this. And if it's a reasonable person, they'll work with you and they'll be willing to make changes. Sometimes all things get stagnant, but it doesn't mean you have to go and look for another soulmate. You grow, you go deep with a person, you make commitments, but it's got to be a co-authoring. You can't do it by yourself. That's why it's important to have a right partner and look at these qualities that I talk about to see if that person has them or if they're willing to cultivate them. I'm going to your YouTube channel and watch. Great. That'll be good. And also follow my work at YouTube, because that's really very helpful. You'll be able to have notice. You'll be noticed, given a notice about when I'm putting some things up. Quite a few videos there, over 120, 130 videos, all free, of course, that you can watch and you can really go deep. Also, you can read my books, The Mind Body Code, The Mind Body Self. They're available on Amazon, and they have a lot of tools to work on relationships, anti-aging, healing, and many, many other things that I think are very helpful. It's a mind-body communication in a cultural context. Also, cultures will tell you what a relationship should be about. If it's good advice, you take it. If it's not good advice, you adjust to it, two of you. If you have a culture that tells you men are superior and women have to do what men say, well, you can adjust that, because you're not going to find a partner from another culture is going to take it just because you tell them that's how it is, or the other way around. So you have to modify your cultures to make them the individual that you and your partner are. So you grow, but you don't just sit around and take what your culture tells you, because your culture may be wrong. And just because they're doing something for thousands of years, it doesn't mean they're right. So you have to, what's called, individuate. Become the person that you want to be, not the person you were told you are. It's a difference of that. Especially if it's a bad thing that they told you you are. You can change that around anytime. You're listening to some Persian bamboo flute. Sometimes I listen to Native American. I love flute. I love the wind instruments. They're really nice. User 970250575. Boy, I said the whole thing. Just joined us. Welcome. And if you have any questions about relationships, let me know, and I'll try to answer them for you. Meanwhile, I'll give you more ingredients for relationships. One powerful ingredient of a relationship is that when someone is expecting thorns, you give them a rose. Not all the time. You can't do it with a sociopath because of abuse. I'm talking about normal people. So let's say that you are working, or you're in school, or you're whatever's going on, and it's not a pattern, it's not something you're doing all the time, but your partner has made a wonderful dinner for you. You made a wonderful dinner, and then your partner comes late. The easiest thing would be to, oh, you're late, you're insensitive. Go back to one of the principles that I taught here. Look at the totality of the relationship. Is this person late all the time? Or is this person late once or twice? If it's not all the time, if they're expecting a thorn, all you do is when they come in, you're going to see that they're feeling anxious, waiting to get beat up. You say, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Have a wonderful dinner prepared for us. And you're going to see a tension released, because that person was expecting for you to beat them up, and what you're doing is you're welcoming them. But you do this with people that don't abuse you, of course. You do this with people that are decent, and this is why you have to have decent people. So they can then see that what you're doing creates goodwill. That person will think, I wasn't judged. I judged myself. I was late. Let me see if I can be on time next time. That's what happens with decent people. Sociopaths will say, oh, good, I can get away with it. Anytime I'm late, it'll be wonderful. You don't want to be with a sociopath. By the way, sociopaths are small minorities, just that they're very loud and you think they're all over the place. They're not. Okay. Leah Kemp joined. Hello. Lambert, JD Lambert joined. A lot of people are joining. Just amazing how many people are just passing through. But if you have any questions, stop me and I will interrupt myself, answer it, and move on. Katie Smee, hi. Leah Camp. I think that's what it is. Again, it's when I'm wearing light, the words are in white, so it's almost it's very difficult to distinguish. So I'm wearing, this is called Columbia Blue from Columbia University. I didn't go to Columbia, I went to Vanderbilt, but that's the color that they have. Okay, so I hope you're getting a sense that relationships are work, but not hard, upsetting work, but meaningful and exciting work, so you can constantly discover each other and constantly find, oh, this person is really deep. And you don't have to have existential conversations all the time, but it can't be all about work or about sports, or it's got to be a little bit more, because we're more than that. We're more existential people, and as you grow, you find how beautiful it is to explore each other at different levels. So be aware that relationships are a commitment to grow, a commitment to better yourself, to better your partner, and then enjoy life, because life is there to be enjoyed, not to be ego gamed and not to be played out by trying to win and best each other. It doesn't work very well. So Troy just came in. Quite a few people are in. So if you have a few questions, I'll go ahead and stay, and I'll try not to be too long here so that we can have the video downloaded and sent over to YouTube, so those of you who missed it could watch it. But be sure that you follow my work. Some of you have already followed, and it's really good. But it's growing tremendously. There's one on self-esteem that's had over 25,000 views in just a few days. So it's really, really very good. How do I change my reaction to my husband when he shuts down because of stress situations? Well, the best thing to do is to not try to open him up when they're stressed. When things are going well, and when you're feeling more comfortable with each other, then you can ask, how are things going? It's always good to ask. Don't assume. Why are you so stressed? How are things going? How have you been feeling lately? That kind of thing, to get them to open up. And if they don't open up, then find out if there's anything that you're doing to make it difficult for them to open up, because sometimes we don't know. Sometimes somebody opens up and you interrupt them with an answer, or you tell them what to do, and people shut down, especially if they're more introverted. Introverted people need room and need space. You can also improve the relationship by having rituals, having candlelit dinners, having time with each other that you sit and just discuss. What else would you like to see in the relationship that you're not seeing? What kind of things stress you out that I can help you with? Those kind of things. And gradually you give the person safety to be able to open up, because introverted people are cautious in what they say because they come from a history that they've been punished for being open. Or there's some genetics also into introversion, but it can be learned. You can unlearn introversion. So those are some of the things that you can do. And let me know how it works. It'll work if you're patient, but if you see, what am I doing to contribute to the situation? Because a lot of time we don't look at that. Well, you never talk to me. Well, maybe find out why the person's not talking to you, why they're not opening up. Without you knowing it, you may be shutting them down. You may be trying to fix things, or maybe interrupting them, or telling them what you think should be done. Well, they pull back, and you get no answers, and you get no communication. So always, when in doubt, ask questions. Don't assume what's going on, because we project a lot of our own world into the world. So be Socratic. Ask questions. What's going on? What's going on? What's happening? And don't assume that you know. Okay, I'm going to take a couple more questions and we'll stop, and you'll be able to see the video up in YouTube. Again, Dr. Mario Martinez is my channel, and you can go there and follow and enjoy many other videos, including this one. All right, anybody else? Any other questions before we move on? Okay, we keep getting people here joining us, but no more questions. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be, let's see, one remote pilot joined. Any questions, remote pilot? Morgan? People keep coming in. I hate leaving when people keep coming in, but I just hope that that I've answered all your questions. Thank you. Well, thank you all for staying here and listening to your house shrink. And remember, be aware of what you're doing and find out how brilliant and beautiful you are, but you got to give yourself an opportunity to find it. Whatever's happened in your life, you can change in the present. Don't beat yourself up for the past. Don't excuse it. Just improve and make it better. Nobody's perfect. Perfection doesn't exist. So be brilliantly imperfect. Okay, I guess that I think it's about time because there are no other questions here. So I hope I gave you enough information here to help you for a while. Enjoy, and until next time, House Strength saying bye.